are those things that I need to find as a person, regardless of who is an ambassador or whatever, to know that, okay, this company is a good company?
First of all, that influencer marketing, it don't cast.
Don't cast, right?
It don't cast. People now, because they have been burnt a lot, they're now opening their eyes, right? So, but number one, do they have a physical office? Okay. If it's somewhere you can access, right? Number two, have they done allocations? Do you actually know where exactly?
So with the alarming number of real estate firms in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world generally, I think it only makes sense that we actually understand exactly what real estate is all about, buying lands, buying property, and all that, amazing stuff. What really is a nitty-gritty? What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? Is it so expensive? Is it affordable? Can I break? It's a lot of questions that I have, to be honest, to ask our guest today, who happens to be a command center, for lack of a better word, in this space. I'm talking about the real estate space. He goes by the name Mr. Fabian George. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome to our podcast. This is Secret Behind the Scenes, and I'm really excited that you're here because when it comes to real estate, in Lagos, in Nigeria, even in the world, to be honest, in Africa, we all have questions. Because let me just be honest, and I would like that I know you guys are fond of using really big words.
big words.
Please break it down to the lamest of terms. There's a word like that, to be honest. Let's really understand what this is about. Because I've heard a ton of stuff about real estate, about the people who sell it, about what's involved, the money. Every single time I go to the airport, one real estate salesperson
is always pushing you.
You say, listen, that flyer, you must collect that flyer and come and buy something, really. But I think it was not until last year, December, honestly speaking, I took my time to really read up on and when I say read up, I don't mean research. I mean, I went through, because I was traveling, right? So I went through a leaflet that someone gave me, and I realized, okay, this actually makes sense. It's not as difficult or as complicated as people make it look. Do you understand? I don't have property that I have. By property, I mean land I have bought my money, except the one that our parents bought in our name. That's all. But going through that leaflet, it made me understand that, okay, this is not difficult. This is something I think people should do, and I think, it's cool, right? But I'm one out of a million and one people, and I think that is great that you're here. So let's start from the very, very beginning. Mr. Fabian, was it always real estate for you from the beginning, or did the economy of Lagos and Nigeria say, you know what, let's get selling houses? What was it for you?
Omo.
It's the Omo for me.
Okay. I think I started out in life wanting to study law.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But Nigeria jam system happened to me, right? And I was aspiring to be a lawyer because I know that I have the persuasive ability in me to be able to, make a case for an idea, for a vision, for a product. So I wanted to, read out for law, and I wrote my first jam. I was jammed. But over
the first
time,
jam, how many did you write?
4. Yeah.
4?
4. Wow. Yeah, so the first one I had 235. I chose Unilag law, but I didn't meet the cutoff. The second one I had about 252. I chose Unilag, I didn't meet also. But then in that phase of mine, I just decided that I wanted to understand, much more about life than just the academic progression. It was then, and I realized that it's not just about what you study in life, right? What you study in school is much more bigger than it. Life is much more bigger than certificate. It's about certificate, right? Ability for you to create a niche, a success for yourself, irrespective of what you studied or what you graduated with. So then I just, made a resolution that I was going to study an alternative to law, which was history and international studies. Right. So studying history for me was not for career purpose per se. I just wanted to, have a knowledge of, the activities in the classroom to understand how to position myself, and build capacity for what actually, what life room. There's something called classroom. There's life room,
Okay.
and you spend more time in life room than classroom. The max you can spend in the world, school was maybe 12 years, right? Inclusive BSc, masters, and PhD. But you spend more years in life room, so we should not prepare too less for life room. So I just said that irrespective of any course I studied, there's no course that is useless.
True that.
It is only useless, right? Because the functionality of a thing is in its usefulness.
Yes.
So I just figured that any course I study, I'll find a way to integrate it with what I will eventually do. So talking about real estate, right? I was in my final year when I made my first real estate commission. That was about 1.2 million.
Come on.
Right?
You sold a house or land?
I sold 1 acre of land.
Amazing.
Yeah, 1 acre. That's about 6 plots. So when I got the commission, I saw that there's so much potential, to make money in this industry. I remember my former boss then, Luke Moshobawale, we always show a lot of possibilities. He will come, he will show me his account balance. I will see a lot of millions. I'm like, can this be possible? A young man, that's not doing fraud, Yahoo, nothing, and just doing his real estate business. And he has so much money. I will see when he, collects commission, he will show us, carry us along. And I know that if this guy can actually do it, then there's nothing stopping me from doing it. So real estate, the reason why I'm doing real estate is because that is where the money is. And I usually tell people this story about a particular guy. I just use it as a way of passing my message of why I'm doing real estate. So there's a particular guy who is known for robbing a lot of banks in New York. He has robbed about 63 banks. As a matter of fact, he was arrested at his 63rd attempt. And when he was arraigned before the court of law, the judge asked him, he said, why are you going to the banks? Why the banks? I mean, there are thieves who rob malls, shopping malls, trading centers. Why have you focused on only banks all through your attempts? He said, that's where the money is. So we should not go far. Let me just go for where the money is. So real estate is actually where the money is. There are money everywhere also. There is there are vehicles, but there are also faster vehicles. If you want to travel or go to somewhere, you can either go with airpiece, or go with peace mask, or trek without peace. Right? So I just look for the faster vehicle, which is real estate.
Fantastic. How long have you been doing,
Well, I would say roughly 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
Interesting stuff. Okay, so let's explain buying real estate, to the common man on the road. Why do you think it's necessary? Because I was speaking to my cousin about about landed property and stuff like that, and then he said something that, funny enough, it sounds ridiculous when you think about it in hindsight, but it made a little sense to me. Now he said, why would I spend millions of naira buying property or land in a state that is not my home? I'm like, It's like, and he said, I would rather do that at my home. And he was trying to defend the reason why he didn't want to buy any property in Lagos. This is somebody who has property where I'm from, Imo State, where I'm from. Like, he has a lot of property there. I'm like, if you have property there, why can't you buy something here? Why are you still paying landlord money here? And he said, why do that? So imagine you are trying to sell him real estate and he says that to you. How would you respond?
Well, one thing I tell people is that when it comes to real estate, there are 3 things that are important to invest in. Right? Number 1 is location. Number 2 is location. Number 3 is location. Right? It just means that location can never be emphasized when it comes to overemphasized when it comes to real estate investment. The issue that happened, the Lagos issue, election issue that happened has triggered a lot of concerns about people saying that they don't want to do Lagos and whatnot. But what I tell people is that Lagos has about 200 ethnic groups in Lagos, right? So I feel that you saying that you don't want to invest in Lagos is you probably shooting yourself at the leg, because if you look at the profitability, right, money does not discriminate. If you are looking for where to make you money, right, then Lagos is actually the best place to be. And one of the commissioners, this guy that's in charge of planning that does with land, right? Olumide was talking about the fact that many of those demolitions that happened and whatnot, a lot of people feel like they were targeted at the Igbos, because most of the people who suffered that were predominantly people of the other tribes that we have. But the guy evidently made proofs that if anybody comes out and say that all the houses that were demolished last year, there were about 200 houses that were demolished by the Lagos State government. That was a release that by this agency, Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency. They released about that 200 houses were demolished, right? And if you look at those houses, the commissioner said all these houses that were demolished, bring out the one that has valid documents. Nobody came out. So the whole issue about Lagos real estate is beyond a tribe. It's about, you following. Did you follow the rules? Did you approve the needed permit, which I believe I'm still going to explain as we move on. But however, one thing I tell people is that when it comes to profitability, Lagos State plays Lagos State does about 70% of the real estate transactions in Nigeria, because it's a hot market. It is a diverse place. People can come in, do business. The economic value, the development that the Lagos State government is actively involved. You see a lot of innovation, a lot of intervention the Lagos State government is doing, the partnership they are doing. So if you want to actually put your money where your heart is, I think you should do Lagos real estate. So it's beyond tribe. It's about profitability.
And I mean, it's landed property only appreciates, never really,
Depreciate, exactly.
As it were. So I like that you mentioned what to do, when you're buying property. So let's start from that. I want to buy a property now. What exactly? Because I mean, if you're demolishing houses and a whole commissioner is saying, okay, come out, bring out your valid documents, and nobody's coming out, is wild to me, because how do you have property you don't have valid documents? Like, who were you paying to? What were you doing? What were transactions? What's that about? It doesn't even make sense to me. If I want to buy shoes, I need to see receipts. There are things that you look out for, right? So, as someone who wants to buy property, what are those documents you need to have? Who do you need to be speaking to? What are the because I mean, since they are valid documents, they could be invalid. That means they are invalid documents as well. So, what are the valid documents that you must possess?
So I think I want to start with a story that happened to one of my clients. I wanted to get a property for him in Victoria Island. So we saw this particular land that we were interested in. They said the land has a C of O title. C of O is certificate of occupancy, right? So we went and wanted to verify, the authenticity of the title, and we discovered that the land was genuine. Everything was fine. The owner was the right owner, but the land has been used as a collateral for a bank loan, amounting over to 38 million. Oof. So if we have bought the land, we still have to clear the loan before we could have access to the land. So it's beyond just whether something has a title. A lot of people can say that they have a title, but the title is not authentic enough. So one thing I advise a lot of people to do, first of all, study the company you want to buy with. Everything is online. The online is like the homepage of every business. Study the company. Do they have a proven track record? Right? Do people have complaint about them? Once you have done a critical study, you can always go online. When people have a lot of bad things to say about the company, they will write it online, on Twitter, everywhere. So make your own findings. Once you do a study about the company, this next thing you also need to do is also do a study. Find out about the realtor in question. This person that is selling this land to me, right? Is this someone that is credible? There are ways that you can already sense red flags. You cannot call a red flag color. It is a red flag. So there are ways you can easily sniff a red flag. For instance, you're asking, okay, let's go for another thing you can also do is inspect the land. Right? Make a research about the company, make a research about the realtor, inspect the land. Let them take you to the place, the property, whether it's a building or a house. Let them take you there. Once they are taking you there, go back again to inspect on your own.
On your own.
Make findings with the locals.
Around the area.
The person, if for instance it's a house and you go to the inspection, you go do it again, you can easily ask the people that are staying beside the place. You can ask people around. Local, that's one intelligence. Is a secret intelligence. Even when we also want to buy large acres of land, somewhere to resell to people, or we want to buy buildings, those are the local intel that we do, because those people, they have information that you won't find anywhere. because they've been around. So inspect the land, go for a second inspection, right? Inspect during the day, inspect during the night, right? So those are.
Why don't you inspect at night?
Inspect at night to find out if the place is secured enough, is safe enough for you, right? If you want, because it's not just about the day life you want to enjoy. You also want to see how the night life in that place looks like. So inspect. Once you have done the inspect, request for the document. Once you have requested for the document, and they send it to you, you make a research. You can always go to Alausa, right? There's the Surveyor General's department in Alausa where people can help you verify. You can request to do a CTC. CTC means certified true copy. It means I want to trace the origin of the land, of the property. Because sometimes you can buy from this person, you can sell to this person, then you can sell to this person, and it has a very long chain. But you want to trace the origin of it. Okay, who bought to who? Is this person selling to me, the direct owner? So you do all those back check and see how if it is something that is actually genuine. I feel if you can do all of those stuffs, once you get to Alausa, right, and you submit the title to them, you pay a fee. Right, I've forgotten, it varies depending on the property. Once you pay the fee, you are going to find out where the property actually falling. There's something called the master plan. Every state, every city has a master plan. It means that what was in the original intention, when the people that were building Lagos, what do they have in mind? They have mapped out some areas for hospital. They have mapped out some areas for military. They have mapped out some areas for refinery. They have mapped out some areas for forestry. They have mapped out from areas for government intervention. For instance, the place they will do the 40 million bridge has been mapped out. If you coincidentally buy a land around that axis, you're already wasting your money. It doesn't matter whether they will do it now in the next 10 years. So sometimes you can see a bare land, but it's not a bare land. Sometimes you can see a structure. It's not only a structure. It's contravening with the master plan in all of that. But once you have done all those checks, you already know that, okay, this is something that you need to go and also consult either a surveyor or a realtor, right? Consult, right? Pay for consultation. I believe that if you don't consult before you confront, you'll be confounded, right? So consult, ask people around, right? And so that you can make informed purchase decision.
Right. So about the documentation in Alausa, it's part of what the real estate company does, right? I'm guessing.
Yes.
I want to buy from a real estate company.
Yes, definitely.
So they do all those checks.
All those stores. One of the advantages of buying from a real estate company is that with the real estate company, the legit ones, right? Based on the track record that you have seen, right? One of the benefits is that they have done the necessary orders for you. So when people say the land in Ekpe, they're selling it for 5 million or 3 million, how can you be selling land for me in 3 million? You don't know the backlog, the behind the scenes
what they have to
of what they have to do. If you buy from Omonile may sell it for you now on their key, right?
I've heard of this Omonile thing. What's that?
Omonile, like they are like indigens, right? They are Omonile. Everybody is Omonile actually in the real sense, right? In my town is in Ijebu. I can claim to be an Omonile because that's where I came from. But there are some people who leverage on that as a means of source, as a source of income, right? So they are entitled to some, to oversee some, real estate transactions going in that area. So there are people like that that have information. For instance, let's say we are born into the same family, right? Me, I'm not interested in the Omonile stuff. I'm not interested because I have a work that I'm doing. But you are actually interested in it, and someone buys a land from your family, right? Maybe the person, someone wants to buy a land, and because you belong to the family, you know that you people have a land somewhere. You now sell the land to the person. However, there's a process at which you should have gone through. Should have gone to the family head. Every family has a family head. They have a committee, chairman, secretary. All of general secretary, all of those people, accountants. So if you sell because you are a member of the family, you feel like you have access to the information. You now sell to me. And because you wanted to just make quick money, you didn't carry all the rest of the family along. They needed strategic people, right? You didn't carry them along. And I'm coming to do work on the land. And the family people saw me and they sent me away. You are falling victim of Omonile. It's not that you bought from the wrong person, but you didn't buy from the authorized person.
Yeah.
So the person you bought from is a family member, but it's not the authorized family member. And because family matter is a lot of crisis. It has to go through the right channels. There was a story of a real estate company I heard, bought so many lands, acres of land. They bought 40 million naira, right? And eventually they paid to the wrong family.
Wow.
Not like it's the wrong family or strange family per se, right? I'm coming from this town. I married a woman from another town, right? And I married a second person from my town, right? So the children of the one I married in my town are supposed to be the entitled, based on the structure of the family. They're supposed to be the ones that we delegate and make decisions on land matters. But because these other children of this other one that came from another land, they also want to claim that it's my father now, even though I know that my mother is, but my father is still an indigenous of this place. So they set up a committee on their own end. These people also has a committee on their own end, but this committee is the valid committee. So that real estate company went to buy from these other ones. Ouch. So they arranged a setting, they arranged a ballet, they arranged so the real estate company, to take God's intervention to know that it's the wrong company. 40 million gone down the drain.
Wow.
Right? So those are a lot of
gone down the drain. They can't get it back.
They can't get it back.
They can't sue.
They go to court, they will spend a lot of time, but they will still have to pay the right family. Maybe they might be very how will I put it, gracious enough and say, okay, maybe you pay 50% now, because we know that it's not as if they are stranger, they're just our distant people that people kill because of land. One of the things that all those guys do, when they are fighting each other, is that they will create a murder case on the land. They will kill someone on the land. And when the murder case has entered the land, nobody can have access to the land. So there's a lot of back logs that happen in real estate. So back to my question of why you should buy from a company. Yeah. A company has known, based on experience, based on what they know the right people to go to. Yeah. They've already figured out the stress, because when you go for those meetings, you will pay money. You buy something.
But then again,
all of those things, where will you put the cost? Yeah. You do clearing of the land. You do fencing of the land. All of those things, where will you put
That's what makes the
those
money
costs?
Go. So that brings me to ask on that question. How do I, as somebody who doesn't know jack shit anything about real estate, how do I know a good real estate company? I'm asking this because we are a social media generation. And there is this thing about putting faces behind brands.
Ambassadors, influencers.
Like that. And just because I really love this person, anybody that Fabian says is original. Do you understand? Because she represents this company, right? And then I put my money there because you said so. And then she happens. There was, I don't know if you, I'm sure of course you heard of it, right? It's your industry. There was one that happened, a very popular actor.
Yeah, I get.
And it was chaotic.
Yeah.
In fact, so much so that somebody who I even know who bought in Canada, let's not even go into that. From the same company. It was a problem. So how do I, on my own, what are those things that I need to find as a person, regardless of who is an ambassador or whatever, to know that, okay, this company is a good company?
First of all, that influencer marketing, it don't cast. It don't cast. People now, because they have been burnt a lot, they're now opening their eyes, right? So you have asked a very valid question. But one thing I also believe that when people study, right, and they arm themselves with the necessary information, they will be able to boycott all these things. So for a company, number one, do they have a physical office? Right, you want to be sure if they have a physical office, right? If it's somewhere you can access, right? Number two, have they done allocations?
What is allocation?
Allocation means that you bought a property, maybe a land somewhere, and they actually, give you the land. Okay. You actually know exactly your land is. Okay. Where they mapped out. When you see a large acres of land that is being sold, there is an area that has been mapped out for each of the client that buys. Okay. So have you been allocated to the land? Do you actually know where exactly your land is? Do they, when one of its strategies, most what these fake real estate companies does is that they use, you know, real estate to cash out. You know, they don't have a product, right? They don't exactly have a product,
Okay.
so they just, you know, push out a product that they have not secured, pushed it out to start raising funds for it.
Oh, to go and then secure it.
To go and then secure it. You understand what I'm saying? So
The hustle. Wow.
Really? But the truth is, there's no actually. Most real estate companies do not pay outright for a land.
Okay, good. Okay, makes sense.
Most real estate companies,
Right.
even the biggest of real estate companies, there is a payment plan that you agree with the family people, and you know you keep. Yeah, but there are people who do it extremely, right? Maybe they don't have intention. They just want the cash flow to do other things.
Right.
So they keep, and there are cases of people who oversell a product.
Oversell a land.
Oversell. Maybe you know that this land has 100 acres. And because of the money keeps coming, you just want the money to keep coming, you know that you have exhausted. 100 acres are being bought. Close the product. Maybe launch another one. But you keep collecting money from that product.
Wow.
So they will have issue of over subscription. So all the people that have now subscribed, they will now be telling them that, okay, you know, we'll give you another place, you know, to pacify them and whatnot. But that's like a mini or a subtle scam.
It's a scam. It's not subtle. You are a scammer.
Well,
I want land in Ikoyi. Tell me VI. Why?
Yeah, well, and another thing that also happens, right, from our own end also, is people breach payment plan.
Okay.
Right. So, for instance, let me give you a story. We launched a land in Ekpe. Someone paid 200K as an initial deposit. The person was supposed to pay the payment for 12 months. Right? And
200K per every month?
200K per every month, and spread the payment, right, for 12 months. And after 12 months, the person did was just have 200K, that first initial deposit. And the person maybe got stuck or did not plan very well, you know, and evidently the person has breached the payment plan that he signed. 2 years later, the person will now come and say, I think I have a land somewhere. That you pay 200K for that land. The present value of that land has even increased. And you are expecting that they will still sell you for you at that same price. It's not possible, right? So what we do in cases like that is we either tell you, okay, do you want us to refund you, right? Or you want us to reallocate you to a cheaper place that can accommodate your budget. Right, so that's another areas, you know, so many. So when we now present that option, you go online and say, this real estate company is a scam. Meanwhile, you defaulted the payment plan. I don't know if you get. So I'm trying to speak from both ends, you know, and whatnot. So I think.
But I don't think that. I mean, that makes sense. I don't think that you would do that, and then anybody will say.
People do that. They will tell you are a scam. You have been defaulted. 200K. You call the line 800. People do that. People do that.
So I'm going to take you back to the fiasco of what happened on social media with that other real estate company. We're not going to talk about the real estate company, right? But I know that you know the integrity. I don't have all the information. But I mean, it's your industry, so I'm sure you know. What do you think happened in that situation? And what do you think could have been done to fix it? Because it was chaos. It was a lot. I can't even lie.
So, what I think happened, I think I shared some hints to that.
Okay.
Right. It could either be oversubscription to the product, or just a means to just get cash flow, you know,
to sort out other bills,
to do other bills, because real estate we always need money to be coming in, so that because you can never be less liquid. You have to keep up because there's always a project to do. So most real estate companies are not like a bank that keeps money in the company.
Money for something.
The money comes, it goes out to do another thing. The money comes, it goes out to do another thing. So, you know, for the sake of the cash flow, a lot of people do, you know, some policies that might not in the end be favorable. For instance, some people do cashback, right? You collect, you drop money will pay you, will buy the property from you. All of those stuffs, right? They are like an avenue to just
Have
get
money
cash
coming.
flow to do what you need to do. So it could be, right, over subscription of the product. Another also thing that could cause it is also the payment plan issue that I mentioned, right? So I won't say that if you look at it, they were 100% at fault. Many people people don't read. People just go with the flow. For instance, maybe they say they want to offer you bag of rice, cow,
They
and
always
oil,
do
and
that.
boom,
They always
just
do that
went. Maybe you didn't read some of the intricacies involved in the document, and you just
terms
go
and
ahead.
conditions
Terms
apply.
and conditions, you get
People never read.
terms and conditions apply. You just go ahead, and when that thing happens to you, you go online and say it's a scam. For instance, I did this issue that happened. One called that same company out, and Lagos State government had to intervene.
Yes.
And I followed the story
Okay.
because I wanted to know this particular one, right? So if you look at most of the stories, some were evidently true, right? Some, because you mentioned that you have someone,
Yes.
so we cannot deny that some were true,
Mm.
but that particular one had a comma,
Okay, what's the comment?
right? It's online actually,
I've not seen it.
but Lagos State government intervened.
Okay.
They discovered that he paid some amount to get, I think about 2 acres or so. I can't remember the exact portion he wanted to get. He defaulted the payment.
Oh.
He only made a deposit. He could not, continue the deposit. So when he came back, he wanted to still get it at that same offer.
When he was now ready to continue.
When he was now ready to come, he wanted to get it at that same offer. He went it evidently. And they have been reaching out to him for other options. He said no, that he wanted to, eventually get that one. Eventually, they agreed. Lagos government agreed that he should come out, apologize about that particular one, and also accept the other option. So if you look at it, in the midst of sometimes businesses go wrong. Sincerely, there was one issue that happened last year. We were buying cement for about five something. Now cement is at 6,300. You collected money from an investor when the cement was 5,000 something. Now it has increased. You cannot go back to the investor and say
that's your business,
because you have promised the investor a certain return on investment.
Exactly.
You want to do a lot of micromanaging, just to make sure that, one thing we did, my company, one thing we do is that we go back to the investor. We went back to the investor. There's a construction that we are doing in Freedom Way, about 12 minutes, 2-bedroom. We went back to the investor and said, Baba, we carried the investor. We didn't want to do all this. It was open from the beginning. It was an open transaction. Yeah. Every figure, everything, it was carried along. So we could easily go back and meet him and say, this is what is happening. So these are the things, these are the adjustments that will happen and whatnot. We call most of the investors on phone. The ones who could access, we had a meeting with them and let them know. So some of these things, sometimes business go bad, actually. But I just feel like people should be able to communicate very well. There was one issue that happened in my company. So we own a flexible fractional ownership where people can own real estate, invest in real estate with as low as 20,000. Okay. Right. One of them came on board. We wanted to change the business model, make it more profitable for the investors. So we called people that picked. We sent email for those that didn't pick. Consistent emails. So we had sent enough emails to the extent that we just had to take the next action. So all the people that didn't respond to the mails, that didn't take action, we automatically, kept them at a wait list and say, okay, maybe whenever you are ready, we can easily let you know the decision we have made. That wait list, when they now realize that they want to check their investment, they now discover that they have been kept on a wait list. Apart from what
is going on now,
they started chatting our DM. You guys are scam. You guys are this. You guys are that. All of those stuffs. So some people, because of their experiences and what they have heard, they call a lot of things scams that are not scams.
It's just lack of really understanding.
Because a lot of, I can't blame them. People have been burnt. the MMM, the lot of investment that happened. So anything now is like a PTSD. See, that's how that company did for me. Scam.
Right.
So I just feel like there also needs to be a kind of a reintroduction of what the word scam means, and whatnot. So I just feel like, it goes sideways. There's a part of the company, that can get wrong. There's also a part of the investor, that could, a lot of business could also go wrong from them. Maybe not fulfilling the payment plan, not understanding some of the terms and conditions, and, not available, when it's communication time. Yeah.
Right. Fantastic. So, I heard you say, you rightly said here that you made your first million while you were final year, and that made you realize that, okay, this is a thriving industry that you could do, really good figures in if you put your head to it. So that brings me to, my next question. I feel like there are realtors and there are realtors, you know what I mean? Because I've met, takes me back to my airport, what's the word now, my airport experience. So there are people who I meet who are selling real estate to me, right? And I know that these ones are selling, like, you can tell that they know what they're doing. They are selling real estate. But there are some you meet.
They look like what they are selling.
God bless you. But there are also some you meet. And I'm looking at you, right? You're selling a Cubana of 100 million to me and whatever. You're speaking all the English that you can, that you're trying to speak. But I'm looking at you and I'm wondering, do I want to invest my money in this? Do you understand? So that brings me to my first question. Is a question with two parts. Part one would be, is there a training? Is there a, how, like, for example, at banks, when if you want to be a marketer or whatever, there's some sort of training that they take you through and everything. Is there a training for real estate agents or like sellers, or because some of them, but some others, I'm just like, do you think that anybody would want to invest in this company with you looking the way you're looking, or sounding the way you look, or smelling the way you smell? You know what I mean? I don't know, like,
So unlike the US and other parts of the country where they do license before you can be able to sell, in Nigeria, we don't actually have that kind of privilege, to really, really scrutinize people. For instance, before you can drive, you have to have a driving license. Before you can sell real estate, you should have a real estate license. We don't have that kind of structure yet in Nigeria. But however, there are people, who have taken it upon themselves, to start a real estate program where they encourage people to sell. Most real estate companies now have to develop that strategy by training their salespeople in-house. So that's like a solution, So there are always trainings going on. I mean, recently I figured out, one of my friends spoke at a real estate training last week. Simon Ecclesia, that was the title. Pastor Neil Adesanya was there. A lot of other prominent speakers. So real estate training sessions, programs usually go on. My community, we do normal trainings, and there are also there's, for instance, there's School of Estate, in Lagos. School of Estate in Lagos, where people can train, get certificate and whatnot. So I just feel like it's beyond the structure. There should be a personal interest in that realtor too, because real estate is overcrowded. If you meet 9 people, if you meet 10 people, 9 out of them is selling real estate.
It really is.
So you need to make yourself different, because the world will not reward you for your similarities. The world will reward you for your differences. So if you are not loaded, you are not needed. So you need to, intentionally build capacity to find out, the knowledge, because this is about learning, right? If you know better, you will do better. If you know better, you will dress better. If you know better, you will sell better. So I think many real estate or realtors should now go and take it upon themselves to intentionally, like, equip themselves, develop themselves, to look like the market they're selling.
Right. How would you say social media has influenced real estate buying, to be honest? Because so these days, randomly, of course, on your Explore, sometimes Instagram or Meta would bring, some of these videos your way. And that also brings me to the videos. So
what are you selling?
What are you selling, Auntie? Because I'm watching the video.
Follow me. Camera will not follow the house.
Is it
you will follow
do you understand? What exactly is there is that?
Okay.
So let's talk about that first. So when you see those ladies, right? Selling what they are selling.
Pressure Tiwa.
Listen, what goes through your mind when you see those things?
Omo, I'm like, sometimes I feel like it is overrated. It is actually overrated because if you look at the conversions, it's not working.
Actually, it's not working.
What most of them now do is that because of their own social image,
Right.
when they post the house, they will now later post sold. Meanwhile, the house is still there.
Oh.
But because of their own social image, so that it won't be as if they have a lot of people who use those people, they don't, most of them don't convert.
Right.
So to me, I feel like it's actually overrated. Like, why are you showing me your breast? Right? Selling is not being slothful.
Yeah.
It's not being slutty. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You just understand there are people like there are people who don't have to open their breast. They don't have to do hips. They don't have to before they actually close. Big deal. So,
But don't you think that there's a market for that? That's why they do it.
well, for people,
Because it's been said.
well, that's why I said that if you look at the conversion rate, I feel like it's overrated because it's like a bust also, because everybody is doing it. So sometimes you just go, you see, people who actually. So let me give you a this one is a practical story. There's a man that was interested in a land because a busty girl, advertised the particular product, and the girl mainly just maybe, there are people like that, a very certain portion of people who are just doing it. It's not as if they are, bad per se, So I want to believe the girl falls under, because when the man brought, came to look for what she's actually selling, she declined, and the man lost interest in the conversation. So the man was intentionally stalking the conversation. He say, I'll come when we come and check the house. I'll come and check the house. He will slot in. When can we meet? Let's go out this Friday. I should be coming for the inspection on Tuesday. Right? So the man was using that bait. So I feel like even though a certain percentage of it is working, I don't feel like that should be the way, because we are not affected, because the business you should do should have a way of affecting the society, have a way of doing societal change, correcting the community. So I don't feel like it is ethical for me, right? And based on fact, opinion is free, fact are sacred. Let them bring the facts. I know some people that they don't convert. With all the breasts, with all the hips, they don't convert.
They don't convert. So what's the point? Okay. So you saying you've never tried, your company has never tried influencer marketing?
Influencer, we have.
And
That's why I said that influencer marketing
has casted.
has casted. What he cast, he don't cast. Because a lot of people now are intentional. We used this guy, Beritiga, when he sang Machala, amazing guy. He's an amazing person. We are currently doing business together, right? But what we expected was not what we got, right? Because people beyond the influencer, they want to actually have a sense of their own. Gone are the days where people are moved by influencers. Globally, it's not just about one person. Globally, people are not easily moved by influencers. They want to know. There was this girl, that bought out a Ponzi scheme. You saw the backlash. She had to delete the video on her page because people are now wise. So you cannot bubble us with influencer marketing. So we real estate companies just now have a way of training their staffs, blend influencer marketing, blend Instagram, social media ads, and other traditional marketing to sell. You can't focus on influencer marketing alone.
You can't really. You can't. You might not monetize it.
Can't.
Might not Okay. So I'm very curious about how because you made mention of traditional marketing, and I'm very curious about I'm beyond the learned market, beyond the people who understand English, beyond the people who and why I can relate to this, or I can say this or ask this question, is because firsthand I experienced it, and it's wild how I never thought about this thing, right? So I walk into a bank. It was a random day. My card had expired. I wanted a new card, so I walked into the bank, and this lady walks up to me. She's old, and she's speaking, and I'm saying she's speaking my and it's not just my language,
Like
she's speaking
the tick
my dialect. And I'm just telling her, first of all, what goes in my head is, how did she know that's me? But okay. That's my language. Away from that, there are actually people like this who need accounts, who have accounts, who don't understand English, who but still want to use, these services, right? So for people like that, because that's a market as well, I mean, I think marketing will make a lot of money. All those people that can't speak, all those old men that have kids that are doing well, they can't, they have money, right? So how do you reach those people if you do?
There's a lot of money to be made on traditional markets.
Yeah, ton.
Because those people, I think they have a kind of a level of financial knowledge that we don't
understand. Yeah,
because you be like, this woman. My mom sent me to school selling perfume in Marina.
Listen.
Sent me to school selling perfume.
I know the rare part. Thinking about it, and be like, how did they do
like,
it?
How?
My mom sold rice.
Like
in bags to send me to school. How did you do it?
How did you do it?
I swear.
You were feeding us every day.
Yes, we
did
did suffer.
Allowance.
School uniform,
and
books, like, everything.
And if you look at it, you discover that they have a traditional saving system that has worked, which is all this their Ajo.
Ajo, yes.
There was a study we did in Jos. A day, a local market in Jos, they were raking 8 million a day.
What?
8 million naira, a local market in Jos. Now, how much more of Ibalogo market?
You, Lagos Island,
or Lagos, you get. So these people have a lot of there's a lot of money there. So what we do is that we strategically train some people. For instance, there's a guy that does Yoruba marketing, So there's a lady also that worked with us that speaks Hausa very well. There's another lady that speaks Igbo. So sometimes we do a video ad that targets those audiences. We sponsor it, on ads, and we also do, meetups. We go to the market, discuss with those people because they have money. All those money points, OP, those are the market they're using.
Yes, actually.
Because all these Gen Zs, they don't have money.
Yeah, they don't.
Gen Z, don't let me understand that. They don't have, because they're not the there was the terms I want to use. They are consumers. They are customers. Gen Zs are good consumers, not customers. They know how to download your app, talk about it, interact with it, make a buzz about it.
Buyers.
But they're not the main buyers. The main buyers are their parents that send them money per week, per month, allowance, all of those stuffs. So, I feel like that's an untapped market, right? That this money point has acted. OP has acted. OP has about 500,000 agents.
Let's not even go into that conversation of OP.
I know that.
That's really fantastic. All right, so now let's talk about your own company. What company do you represent again?
Well, 2 companies.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Escort Realty and Kodo Realty.
Escort Realty.
Yeah, and Kodo Realty.
Kodo.
Yes.
That's a very interesting.
Yeah.
Wait. Very interesting choice of names.
I get this.
Kodo and Escort.
I get Escort. Kodo. Yeah, I get.
Why did you choose those names?
Well, Escort came in as a representation of security. Right. We know where the money is. Let us take you there. Escort.
Okay.
Right. Kodo came as a bit of when we were thinking about interaction, a kind of an embrace, but not a romantic embrace, a wealth embrace. People coming together, let us come together and do stuff together. Let us come together and make wealth together. So the Kodo was the infrastructure finance company that does, fractional ownership, where people can, make money from profitable infrastructure assets that affects the community. For instance, one of the projects we want to take up this year is car park. We want to build vertical car parks, right? In Lagos, where people can, as we make revenue per hour, all the people that invest collaboratively in that project will be getting the revenue. That's the area of Kodo. But Escort is also the normal traditional real estate company. We sell service plots. We do constructions. We do short let. We manage short let for people. We also build. and we sell our buildings also.
Buildings
Yeah,
as well.
so
And both Escort and Cuddle are on social media, obviously.
they are on social media, of course.
What are their handles?
Escort at Escort Realty, at Cuddle Realty.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there anything out of the ordinary that any of these companies do? I thought the traditional.
Yes. That's why I say Kodu does infrastructure. It's a
yeah.
tech company, right? Because we looked at it. One of the Kodu has a lot of social value, because one of the things we're also trying to do with Kodu is to correct the Ponzi scheme mindset. And let people want to make money. Retail investors, with Kodu, we are trying to make sure that everyone has a property to buy. Money will not be an excuse for you not investing in a property, right? So from as low as 20,000 naira, you can invest. I shared a story, someone, when we started, someone gave us 20,000 naira to, own a piece of a property. It's like stocks, but for real estate, where people buy per share or per unit or per capita, you get.
Right.
So that's the model that we're running. So someone gave us 20,000. After 1 year, the person saw that it was profitable and gave us 1 million. So that's one of the things I tell people about trust. Trust is what many people are caring, what many people care for in Nigeria. So they'll play with a small money and see if it's trustworthy enough. They go on in, refer their friends and whatnot. So I believe that Kodu is solving a major problem, the infrastructural problem in Nigeria, and is also helping a lot of people get liberated from poverty. There was a particular vision I saw, which is actually the spiritual side of the company, and a lot of people were praying, and I saw God telling them not to pray. They were praying for financial wealth. I saw God telling them not to pray and go come and meet us. That He has already answered their prayers with our platform. A lot of people don't really speak about the spiritual side of real estate, but it is what it is. People use voodoo to sell property.
Of life generally. As a spiritual
People use voodoo. There was a particular guy that I met on Facebook, told me that my mates are doing it, that you just give me something, and customers will be coming and whatnot. I just have to pay a fee and constantly do. So there are a lot of other aspects of this thing. There was a particular inspection I was in with an Omonile, and it was a fiasco. The military, it was the land beside was owned by the military commander, and our land was beside. So the guys came to work on the land, and then when they were doing, Omonile came having issue. But another thing about Omonile is that there will always be Omonile. So you just have to know how to relate with them. That's why companies are a very good way to secure property, and don't do it yourself, because Omonile will sell your property to 15 people, right? So we have to come in. Sometimes I go into inspection, I dress like a tout. Sometimes I dress like a tout, I hold cutlass, all those things, so that we too can be able to speak in their language. Omonile should be laborers. We employ them as laborers, because you cannot eradicate them totally. So you just find a means to them. So that there was an issue that happened, and the soldier got angry and started shooting, and they had to call us, and by the time we got there, we discovered that there was a particular man that sold the property to us, and we told him about the issue. He was representing the family. We told him about the issue. He was coming, and the guy was coming in hot. That why would the soldier shoot? He doesn't have to shoot, which was what we were actually trying to also communicate to the soldier. Why would you shoot? It's not really a serious issue. Why would you shoot? We were angry, but of course the soldier was holding God, so we had to calm down. The guy, we're begging him that please, let's maintain peace and solve this thing amicably. It's not really so much of an issue. The guy said that he's going to fight with the soldier. When we got there, the soldier man that was angry, immediately he saw him, the guy calmed down. Nobody will tell me that was ordinary. Nobody can tell me that was ordinary. So if you look at those spiritual experiences I've had, I knew that this business, if you are not in the secret court, you have to be in the secret place. So
preach, bro. Preach.
So that's it.
There you go. I mean, I feel like if you watch this episode and you don't still understand, the integrities, the deep things of real estate, then I don't know what to do for you again at this point. But it is what it is. Thank you for coming, Fabian.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate your presence. What is your own personal handle?
Fabian George.
Fabian George.
Everywhere, Fabian George.
All right, Fabian George across all social media platforms. All right, that's about it for this episode. See you when we see you. Of course, my name is Charles Bond @_Charles Bond. Good night.